Oh, I could have just put on another pair, and I could have thrown mine off, and then you.
Hey, we're live.
We are live. Welcome to Go Game Go. Special guest, the devastating Just Cause, DJC Game Studios.
Great to be here. Great to be here. Oh my goodness. Do you guys mind if well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Let me get Stu to his.
Well, thing. I was just going to say, when you started saying that, sometimes I forget that it's devastating Just Cause. I thought you were going to say the devastatingly handsome DJC.
Well, that too. That just goes without saying.
I thought that's where you were going. I'm like, that's perfect. Oh yeah, right. No, that's the name.
And we'll get into that. The name. And then I noticed how I shortened it because I was like, oh, we're going to just play that whole. And then everybody's like, your name is so long, like we can't even say that in a chat. We can't even call you out.
You think that's long?
I got something for you.
I mean, I'm talking about a conversation. I've got a long conversation for you.
Exactly. Conversation. I got to give some shout outs if you guys don't mind. Get these out of the way before we get deep into it. I got to thank everyone that's watching up at Rogers Roost. I want to give it up to Jack and the crew, Jordan, Jody, Shelby, Jess, Laura, Lauren, Al, the clown, Renee, Brad, Rich, Huggy Bear, Gary, the owner, Sean. And then I got a few other people. I'll try to make this quick. And I got people texting me, of course. My friends Beth, Aiden, Ray, Andrea, Jake, the OG Garage crew that's watching, Nikki, Renee, Andy, and Justin. My buddy Eric J, Kaya and Gina. And then from all over the world, California, Texas, and Colorado, we got Patrick, Trevor, and Sean. My friend Lisa. My old work brethren. How did I say that? Anthony, Amir, Noel, and Keith. Keith, my buddy from music. My boy PJ, which helped me do all the production I do on my show, he taught me that in a crash course. I would be nothing without him. And of course, my mom and John. So I think I got everybody there. Oh, and the girls up at Betty Jane's Bar and Grill, Britt, Kayla, Jamie, and George. All right. Woo! Wow, that was a long list. And I probably forgot a million people, and they're all going to be mad. They're like, you didn't mention me.
I feel like we should be giving you an award after this.
Well, I felt like we should have had the orchestra come in.
It was a pre-award speech in case at the end I was considered for nomination.
I was laughing because all I could think of is I wish I could pull up some Academy Award music right now and just start playing it over the end.
And here I gotta say this too. Gotta give props to the
there it is right
there. Music.
You got the music. The LaRue Blackberry Brandy, the Polish Blackberry Brandy.
Oh.
Wow.
Where's the tab?
Well, that's right here.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. That's supposed to come in later in the show.
Where's the tab?
Okay, now that we get all the weird stuff out of the way.
Wait, I think he spelled that wrong. It's Go Canada. Isn't that it? It's Go Canada.
That's Slappy in the house. Papa Pete in the house.
Slappy.
Slappy did this great gif where he had the running man on a treadmill. And then Chuck made a comment about something about tab, and then he let me put a little can of tab on the treadmill.
I don't know. He is like so great on those photos. Yeah, the running man is on the Intellivision wood grain treadmill, and then next thing you know, like it refreshes, and there's a tab can just vibrating on the top there. I'm like, oh my god, that's so awesome.
I think you're doing straight, aren't you, here, Chuck?
I'm what?
You're drinking your brandy and tab straight, or you got
the brandy we do is a shot, basically like a chilled shot of brandy. Normally, brandy's drinking warm. This one, it's like a 70 proof brandy.
We should call it a tandy.
A tandy, like a tandy vision. But now it is time for our official sponsor, which is Tab. The brand new soda, kids. Get it today. It's coming out. It's in everybody's fridge. You want to be like your friends? Get some Tab.
Limited edition at this point.
Totally limited edition.
It sure is. Oh my goodness. And it's delicious.
So
I was Jenny Chaka Khan.
Lappy, George, Lance. I was just looking at George's website link that he sent us. I was finally looking at that today. Because I gotta figure out some stuff with that and see what else can be done.
That's awesome.
HTK 360.
Oh wait, where's he at? Did I miss him?
Further up, Jeff Davis is here. Blake.
I'm not seeing him.
My brother Lance. And it all started with Spencer Fox.
Love the Shaka Khan references already.
Shaka Khan. I am going to get her on the show. That's just all there is to it.
That'd be. I want to be on the Shaka Khan show. That's for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Is she still with us?
I'm going to start working on it straight away.
Is she still with us?
Oh yeah. Boy, we got to check that. Oh yeah, didn't you guys check that at one of those streams?
Yeah, right.
Unless it's changed since like.
Never
Thanks, 2021.
Damn it! I'd like call the agency. Oh, you didn't hear? Son of a.
And the chat's going crazy with Tab.
Man, we got a lot of people in here tonight.
Pop the tab.
Very good. Very good.
DJC is bringing in the people here. Look at that.
I gotta get that.
It's this delicious soda, not me.
Yeah, it could be the tab.
It brings in the fans. I tell you.
You don't see it that often anymore, so yeah.
You don't. I mean, you're not going to see it probably after August when they all start to expire. The last batch. Drink it now while you can, kids.
Isn't it weird that you can not like something all of your life and then it's going to go away and you're like, maybe I should get a tab?
Well, see, when I shouldn't say a kid, maybe when I was old enough to drive. Maybe I was like 15, 16 years old, whatever, and I'd go camping and someone had tab and it was hot out. We're around a campfire. I started drinking it and I just kind of got addicted to the weird saccharine taste.
Yeah, that's
but it has like that. It's everybody's like, oh, it tastes like diet. I'm like, it's different than a diet soda because diet sodas use those weird sweeteners. The saccharin almost tastes like a real sweet but tart kind of sugar. It's kind of hard to explain. Yeah. And putting it in I'm like sitting here talking about tab, but the thing is like I started really liking it, and I'd buy it, and then throughout my life, every once in a while, you wouldn't see it all the time, but I go to like we got a store here in Michigan called Myers. It's like a huge department grocery store, and I go, and they'd always have this huge pop aisle, and it's made by Coca-Cola, so right next to like the weird stuff like Diet Right and RC Cola, there was Tab Cola, and I was like, oh, I get myself a case. And then
that's Meyer, Meijer.
Yes.
We used to do some ads for them.
Hey, Shannon. Oh my goodness. Seeing some familiar people in here.
Yeah.
Shannon Lee.
Welcome to Go Game Go.
This is awesome.
This is what we do.
That's right. Many great conversations with these guys, whether in chat or what we're doing now. And make sure you guys smash the like button, like Lance Jennings says. and
smash it
and subscribe to Go Game Go.
Make it so that you can subscribe to nothing else for the rest of your life.
This is the only content you'll ever need. The only content.
Chuck, you're in Detroit. Are you outside?
I'm right the outskirts. I'm a few miles away from Detroit. I'm on Michigan's done up like well, especially when it gets to the. Obviously, you've heard of like 8 Mile because that's like the the movie and all that stuff. Mile roads, like on a grid, pretty much. I'm right by 13 Mile, so I'm just about 5 miles from the city, from where Detroit starts. So yeah, just that's a suburb. Man, I'm already stumbling on my words. No, it's a suburb of Detroit called Warren.
And I'm like side effect of being a guest on the show.
And I'm on like a weird corner, so I got like a bunch of cities around me. So I'm like Warren, and then I have Sterling Heights where Rogers Roos is at. Good plug, right? Right, guys.
Pretty
good. And then I got Fraser, Michigan, on the other side of me, which is funny because that's where I used to ride my bike up to a 7-Eleven to play some of my first arcade games, because that's where you used to find an arcade and pinball was in 7-Elevens in the 80s.
Wow.
Because I'm totally not that old.
I'm totally that classic. I'm not old.
No, you're exactly classic. You're right.
They don't call it old rock. They call it classic rock.
That's true. That's very true. I agree.
That's me. Just like
the chat is going off. Love this.
I can't even keep up right now.
So look what I got today. Speaking of, I can't wait to get into this.
Oh, wow.
Thomas Stolby.
Yeah. He's that's some stuff I'll be covering this in Hammerway, but also I downloaded some of this today.
Yes. Now you don't have. Does that have the spell? Do you have the Spellbound album as well?
I think I used to. I still.
That was one of the last great ones she ever did.
Yeah, it was.
Had the Keanu Reeves was in that video. Rush. He's
I never knew that I could find love. What love is with me, Paula,
or whatever he said. I don't know. Oh yeah, Face the Music. That was actually pretty good.
I still haven't watched it yet.
Okay, I won't spoil it, but I actually enjoy it. I didn't expect much going in.
Yeah,
but nothing to take from that. I mean, the old ones are classics, but I'm like, I enjoyed it, to be honest. So,
right.
There was an old game show called Face the Music.
Yeah, there was.
The host was Ron Ely, Tarzan. How about that for some?
I was thinking, like, should I do the yell? But I can't pull that off. So,
just go when you need her.
Finish.
I know what I need to do.
Yes, I did see it, Lance. The Finnegan Fox reaction. It was awesome. It was so
how about
sweet.
that? We're all
was cool.
Stars after today.
We're so famous.
We are famous. We are so famous.
Everybody in this chat and in this whole community is famous. We all love we all love one another, support one another. I just love this community. You guys are just awesome.
Yeah,
really
it's
awesome.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, look at this. Here we go, Jack. Hi, DJC. We're here at the Roost watching you and rooting for you. See you soon. That is awesome. Rogers Roost. I blow my mic out.
Hey, do they have live music there?
They do. Actually. They do have live music. I mean, obviously, once the COVID stuff kind of finally lifts, I think right now we're at like 25% or something. They can only have so many things, and I don't think live music's allowed yet, which is just awful, man. I tell you what, I just
I just left
Hi, Jessica.
Jam. I was doing an open jam on Thursday nights, and I just quit doing that just because they wanted to make it more businessy and wanted to do 1099s, and I'm like, no, thank you. No, I don't make enough for me to worry about doing that.
Now, what type of music do you just do? Pretty much covers or original, or what do you?
Both.
Just okay, that's cool.
Yeah, both. I have a band that I'm starting up called Rockman, but we have people keep dropping out. So now that happens in bands.
Absolutely.
Except ZZ Top.
Hey, look at Spinal Tap. They had about 20 different drummers. They all I think the last 3 exploded.
Thank God they don't spontaneously combust.
Right.
That's the problem. And it's messy. I don't want to deal with that. So I'd have to move the drums and clean his mess up.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. That's
but then I'm also so the guitar player just left. We got a new guitar player. The record is in. He was the record. I was telling Jeff that was the record because this guy, we auditioned him last Tuesday, and before Tuesday this week hit, on Monday he quit. Hey, there's my Dr. Seuss moment for the day.
I want to say what's up to Eric J. He's watching. He's the other half of DJC, my music.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, he's watching right now. So good to see you, buddy.
Very cool. Yeah, speaking of, who was saying it? Oh, Lance said famous or infamous. Or as they say on Three Amigos.
What about out famous? I don't know. I'm just trying new stuff.
And this is a band I've been into as well, Inglorious.
Inglorious.
Yeah, I'm going to see about getting an interview. It's Perry time.
Oh my God, it's Perry. Perry's makes an appearance in every Go Game Go stream and or video.
That's right.
Perry.
So sexy in the pink and fur.
The Perry promo has been brought to you by Black Label Beer. Black Label. You can't find it anywhere, so don't try.
It doesn't exist.
Buy a can, not a can't.
You only find it on my buddy Clown's hat. He has one of those tin hats made it, the yarn hats with the tin.
We used to have the Black Label in the bottle. We're at the liquor store when I was working in my hometown. We had it in the bottle by the big cardboard case.
Oh, that's like with the ones that had like the flip top with that went like this. Yeah. Top. Oh, I used to have a bunch of Budweiser ones. We'd like store. Those were like thick cardboard back then, man.
Yeah, quality cardboard. Man.
Yeah.
No, I only need the theme song. I'll start working on that.
What's up, Lizzie? What's up?
It's true. Every time Perry comes on, we should play a little music.
Oh, that's Beth. I know who that is. I was like Lizzie. Like, it's Beth.
It's Beth.
I'm like, the chat's going crazy. I love it, man.
It is. Wow. It is. So now, how much music do you have that's written stuff that you've done?
Oh God. Well, I mean, the stuff that's up on Spotify right now is not the whole catalog. It's more kind of stuff from 15 years ago up to now. Okay. There's a lot of back stuff I try to load up on there. We had a big YouTube channel about, let's say, like 3 years ago, where we had a bunch of like live footage, bunch of music videos, a bunch of little mini question and answer segments, bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it got deleted. The whole account got deleted. I tried to contact YouTube. They don't, I guess they thought that I wasn't the owner of it, or I don't know how it happened, but I let it go maybe I didn't check it for a month. And this is so like stupid, but like we lost everything. So we're in like about a year ago. Oh my God, my phone's going off. And
what's on your phone?
Oh, that's just like a regular phone. Yeah, I think whatever the phone's set at. But I pretty much tried to like load up as much as we could back on like a new YouTube for the music, but and then COVID obviously happened, so it just kind of sat up there. So we got like 5 videos up, and we're eventually going to get all the live shows and everything put back on there. But then I started doing that. I was like, man, there's nothing. What am I doing during COVID? And I'm so into my gaming. I'm like, why don't I switch over and do a game channel? And that's kind of how I came to be what I'm doing here. Oh, it's the guys from the Roost calling me.
You're like, dude, I'm busy.
You guys are calling me?
You should take the call.
Should I take it?
Yeah,
take it.
Hello, you're live on the air. What? I know you could see me. You called during the show.
It sounded like they said, "Show us your boob."
Did you guys? Did you say Donkey Kong? That must be Jack. He can't beat Donkey Kong. He has a hard time. All right, I'm gonna let you go. We have a show to do. Just keep watching up there on them TVs, guys. Okay, there, guys.
Oh, Papa Pete says he's been listening to Wayward Sons.
Oh, wow, that's good to know. We got some viewers up at Roger's Roost.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they're drunk enough to call us while we're doing the show. That's awesome.
Know. Yeah, I mean, hey, whatever works. Make sure you get on your phones. Get on your phones and subscribe to Go Game Go. Just hit the subscribe button.
That's all you got to do.
Smash it's like a fancy like button for YouTube. Subscribe. All right.
So,
anyways, let's go.
I'm serious.
Off the rails already.
So, Chuck, you started your. I'm sorry. You started your game channel in December. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the funny thing about that, I think it was a little bit before I found out. I'm like, because when I would go on YouTube, it would show, like, I think it was just my name, and I go, why is it not my music one? And I looked, and it was because of my phone automatically registered me on a Gmail a while ago. I'm like, so I have another YouTube channel, and I'm like, what am I going to use this for? And then I was like, oh, I'm going to turn this to gaming. And then it kind of sat for like a month, and then I kind of posted a video. I'm going to start this up, and then that kind of went for weeks, and then finally, I kind of built part of my little backroom studio here into a gaming area. And then I don't know if you guys saw in the Astro Smash video, I have in front of me, I have a giant 50-inch TV, 2 20-inch, and then 3 32-inchers. And everybody's like, "Oh, that's the greatest computer." I'm like, "No, it's not a computer setup. I'm not that smart." I'm like, it's literally just gaming systems on 6 different TVs so if someone comes in here, like you could play a million different game systems at the same time,
I thought about doing that. I mean, are they all flat screen TVs?
Yeah, they're all. I got them like super. It was like I found them. I think December, like before Christmas. There's a bunch of stuff online. I mean, mind you, I had one, the big one I had for a while, but the other ones were just like Walmart. What are they like? Westinghouse and Scepter. Yeah, they're fine. They're fine for if they go out in like 2 years, they were worth it. You know, they were like one. I think the small 20 inchers were like $50. I think the other ones were like $100 for the 32s. They were super cheap. And I was like, I always wanted to do like have a wall of gaming, like of like Sega and Nintendo, and I just looked cool. And I was originally going to make that like my backdrop, but then I'm like, I'm showing my collection instead.
So you have you just have adapters for everything, so you can play like Intellivision on a flat screen. And
yeah, I got like the old that I would love to get. I mean, I'd love to have it modded. I know there's a lot of people that do that. I just use that RF kind of coaxial kind of. That little adapter where you put it into there and then just pop it into the cable input on the back of a TV, but it's still never the greatest, you know. And I went through like 2 Intellivisions too in the past like couple of years because I still literally play it and play the homebrews on them. Yeah. And so I had to pull out my old InTV System 3 that probably barely had any play on it. Now it's my main one.
Wow.
So Chuck, I gotta tell you, I know you started showing up on our shows in the chat few months ago, and I guess that was before you had your gaming channel, and I didn't realize you even had a gaming channel until I guess in January.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean I didn't for a while. I was just always in the community and kind of look, and then that's when I kind of looked, I'm like, why does it look different? Like, and then I realized I had another account, and that's when I was like, well, I'll turn it into that. But yeah, I was always like kind of watching people's stuff and getting into people's chats, and
because I saw you on that first reaction video for Astro Smash.
Yeah.
I was like, that's DJC. It's like he's in our chat all the time.
That's awesome.
I felt like an idiot. I was like, I had no idea you were doing videos. So one night I woke up like at 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I was like, what am I gonna do? So I came out here. I was like, I'll watch some YouTube. I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch DJC's channel. I'm going to see what's going on.
That's awesome.
And I sat there for like an hour and a half just watching your music videos and your gaming videos. Nice. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's hilarious.
You woke the family up.
Hey, basically, if it amuses some people and makes someone smile or laugh, that's what it's there for, you know?
Right. Amen to that. Like,
thanks, George Games or George Game. I don't know how to say that. He's got the Q, so is it still George Games? But thank you. The Intellivision stuff's my favorite.
Yeah, that's I played Intellivision back in the day, and but I haven't touched it in years. I mean, I haven't done anything. I haven't seen it. I don't have it. I never had it. My neighbor had it a couple doors down.
The homebrew community is amazing. I have like, I don't know, about 15 or so homebrews, and I just ordered. They just did on a Television Revolution. There's a Intellivision. It's a full Castlevania game done on Intellivision. I just ordered that bad boy like a week or so ago, so I cannot wait for that to come in. And I'm doing a thing on my channel about that. It looks beautiful. And there's another company working on, I don't know if it's the same people, but they're working on a Super Mario Brothers, all done on Intellivision, and it looks fantastic.
Wow.
The NES game, or you're talking the NES game?
Yeah, like the original Super Mario for NES is they're like porting that on Intellivision, and I tell you what, it doesn't look bad. Like, a lot of these homebrews, if they came out when Intellivision originally came out, so I think that might have come down to deadlines and people getting pushed to rush stuff. But I mean, the Intellivision system has a 16-bit processor. The thing can do a lot if you take time and love into a game. Like some of these, like, I mean, especially like the D2K Donkey Kong remakes they did on the homebrews on that, you could see how much better those games could have been than the original releases that they put out.
Wow. So what was like the first game you ever played? Let's go with arcade.
Oh, just anything? Oh God. I'm gonna say my earliest memory is probably Pac-Man. Like the original Pac-Man, 81 maybe is probably. Yeah.
Did you ever play any handheld Pac-Man games?
I had if you remember the Coleco one that, oh man, I have it here. I don't even know where that is.
I'm wondering.
The little, you know, the one that has like the little high back on it.
Yeah,
it has,
cool.
it's a really annoying, like it has like that squealing, like loud volume to it that you can't turn down. But I remember Christmas morning opening that up, and it was like the closest you can get to a portable Pac-Man arcade, and that to me was my favorite thing in the world. Then I think I had a pinball one. I had like a Wildfire pinball electronic game too. That was all LED, but it really, to this day, I'd love to find it because it was awesome. It was seriously like the coolest pinball electronic. I mean, this is the 80s, so right. It was all red LED, and the ball would go all over this. It would really look like the flippers were LED. It was really cool. Like one of my favorite memories for handhelds.
I love those old handheld electronics from like the 70s and 80s.
Well, see,
I'm trying the bowling and the football. Obviously, the what is it? The Texas Instruments ones or the Mattel ones?
Well, I had this weird brand called Bambino, and they had football, basketball, boxing. They had a space laser fight where you were two robots facing each other, and it was like a draw. You would draw and shoot your laser. You could flip all the way up. You could duck. It was really cool.
That's cool, man.
I'm trying to figure out.
You said pinball and crochet.
I saw that. I was like, pinball. I got 3 pinballs here. I have High Speed, Sorcerer. Those are both Williams. And then I have, and then Fire by Williams as well. They're all Williams. What am I saying?
Nice. How many arcade games do you have?
23 from the last time you guys had. I counted.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
I had a lot more. Like that one picture I sent you was from a couple years ago, where I was just buying stuff because I'd find them online for like it'd be like, I don't know what's wrong with this, $100. I'd be like, I'm there. I'll be there in 2 seconds. You know, I come by. It was like, you know, a wire that came unconnected or a fuse. You know, like that's what most of the stuff is, or like a monitor needed to be replaced. And then I got, you know, an $800 machine for $100 or $50 or whatever I'm finding them for it. But it started to be the point where I was doing more quantity than quality. So I'm just loading up my house. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I don't want half these games. So I started flipping them and trying to get it down. And everybody's like, man, you must do pretty good. I'm like, no, I don't do very well. And these were all very cheap.
So,
boy. And this is a good one.
Okay,
look at that guy.
Can I make mention of the Super Bowl with the commercials? Okay.
Okay. I didn't see the recent one, so I don't.
How stupid was the commercial that they did for Tide when it was Jason Alexander, who nobody knows who the hell that is anymore? He is not. I'm sorry, Jason, whatever. What you can say whatever you want, but he's not relevant. And not only that, over the top. So he's a 90s star, right? Big in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
Over the top.
He's the George from Seinfeld, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's I think.
So he's big in the 90s, and then over the top of him, they're playing the Greatest American Hero theme. And I'm like, what the hell are you people doing?
Oh, that was from an episode. I know that's from an episode where he played on his answering machine, and it was like the biggest thing ever back when that happened.
But you know what?
I know what you mean.
Again, not relevant. And people don't. If I'm not putting it together, then most people aren't putting it together. And I'm like, what in the hell are you doing? Because they weren't using his machine, message. So it just made.
Oh yeah, there's the basement from a few years ago. I had cut them down. I was probably about close to 30 games there. But you can see there's like an Altered Beast way in the back, like straight back.
Wow.
And that one I picked up for that was one of those $100 games that I picked up and fixed because it had like a loose wire.
Didn't you just say in your last video you sold it? Or was that a different game?
No, I sold it. I referenced it, but yeah, I sold it years ago. I'd say that at least over 3 years ago, I had that one. I'm trying to think of some of these ones I had. My goodness. Like I have a newer
Pac-Man?
I still like my Pac-Mans I never got rid of. I still have the Pac-Man, Super Pac-Man, Galaga. I still have the Silver Strike Bowling. Punch Out is next to Silver Strike. Unfortunately, I sold that to buy a newer Golden Tee because it was worth money. The Punch Outs go for like almost 2,400 and up now.
Jeez.
When I bought it, it was $300.
Wow.
So it's like you kind of pick and choose, it's to find them cheap. It's not like I spent a ton of money at all on this.
Right.
It's just like I find the deals, fix them, and then I either keep them or flip them.
See, now I'm trying
me and the red tights. I tell you what, you can't. How can you not laugh at that? Look at you could tell us from a while ago. There's barely any gray in the beard. It's great.
Got an '84's World Champion Tigers.
Oh, I still have that on my at my new house here on my bar,
awesome.
And the black label right there down there too.
Yeah, I see that.
That was a great team.
And a 20 Dead Flower Children poster. Oh, there's me and Booger, and/or Snot from American Dad, and/or Herbert Viola from Moonlighting Kids, everyone's favorite show from the 80s, featuring Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd. Anyways, I met him it was actually a horror con for horror movies.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually saw him and registered to get a picture printed out with him. But while I was there, I paid $0 for this. I met Heather Langdenkamp from Nightmare on Elm Street, and she was gracious enough to just be like, "Hey, you guys want a picture?" And me and my friend were talking with her, like nice, and got a picture. Huh. I'm like, well, man, she was the more valuable picture and autograph. I mean, I didn't get an autograph, but there's me, and that's me and Daisy Duke, Catherine Bach.
I was gonna say she looks from that smile is familiar.
Me and my buddy Al went out to Nashville, and they had this big thing, and I used to go there every year before the virus, but I go there every summer, usually spend like a weekend out there. And she was out there doing this whole question and answer thing. And I go into the bar. They had like a big brunch set up. You paid like a little ticket fee. You went in, and we were eating and drinking Blue Moons at like 10 in the morning. And I remember I go up I wanted to get a picture with her, and they took the picture, and the guy's like, something's going on. It won't print. Blah, blah. And then they're having problems with it. And finally she goes, come here and just sit next to me. We'll wait for them to get that going. So I'm sitting next to her, and all these kids and people are lining up, and they're like, who are you? Should we get an autograph from you? I'm like, no, I'm just Daisy's friend here, kids.
I'm her husband.
Yeah, I wish. She was super cool. And at the time I had long hair like used to. I like this all the way down, down my back. And she's playing with my hair. She's like, oh my God, your hair is just so long and just is so nice. I just can't. And I'm just like loving it. I'm like, Daisy Duke.
Yeah, that doesn't suck. That never sucks.
Dude, and I was there for 15 minutes because they kept jamming up the printer and they couldn't get so I stayed there with her while she's signing autographs. And then afterwards, she finally signed this and we took this picture. But obviously I'm sitting behind with her at the table. That was one of my favorite times ever, dude.
I have an inkling on how clever you are, and I have a thought and a theory that I can't say that you didn't slip those guys a few bucks.
I may or may not. I cannot deny or confirm that. Yeah. Look, maybe I sabotaged the printer the day before. Who knows?
I'm going for printer problems. I'm going for whatever you got. So I was just going through my stuff, and I found these where I was hanging out with Peter Frampton.
Dude, Frampton Comes Alive. Greatest album.
Yeah, back in my mullet days.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
1989.
Yeah, Papa Pete. I grabbed a wad of gum in the printer. Yeah, I was like, they're not gonna sabotage this. That was awesome though, dude. I was so giddy. I was like, this is so cool.
Oh man, I had a
childhood thing coming true, man. I'm just like, Daisy Duke says my hair's great. I don't know. I'm just gonna smile.
when you finally got your pictures, the signed picture, did you just sit back down with her?
No, actually it's funny because this is like a zoomed up version, but there's a waitress like mad. Actually, you kind of see it in the top left. She's kind of got her hand on her hip. She's like waiting for me to. She's waiting for me to pay my tab, but instead I'm hanging out with Daisy Duke. She's like, we're about to shut the bar down. If you can pay you drunk. Anyway, It's kind of funny. Oh my God, that's my old promo shot for Devastating Just Cause. That was probably 2004, 2005. Wow, look at those. Look at the hair.
How about that?
Man, I had a blonde, I had dyed, bleach blonde dyed like the first couple. I had it like I'd separate it. And anyways, yeah, as you can see, it's just, that's me and my buddy Eric. He's the one that makes all my music, does pretty much everything. All I do is sing on it. But that was the promo photo that was the photo that ended up being the cover for the Return of the Clerk album.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the newer one in 2020. Oh my God. This is another one of those things where I did not expect it. This is Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters, obviously. Yeah. I was at Motor City Comic-Con in Novi, Michigan, and he was there, and it was one of those things. The same thing happened with me and William Catt, where like people paid in advance to like go and get a picture with him and talk with him. I happened to walk by where they were setting up stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, man." He goes, "Hey, how's it going?" I go, "Good." I was like, "Yeah, you're and he's like, "Yeah." And so I kind of talked to him because I got in there like really early, and I'm like, "Why?" And there's people starting to line up, and I'm like, I get to talk to him. He's like, "Hey, man, you want a picture? You want to hold the Ghostbusters wand?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And so I got this picture with him, and it was like the coolest thing ever. That was like 5-6 years ago, I think, too. And I kept pestering him. I'm like, "When's the third movie coming out?" And he's like, "Okay, we're done."
I wonder how many times Ernie's asked someone if they wanted to hold the Ghostbusters wand.
Probably about 1 million, I'm guessing. And there was maybe when there's not a wand, and there's not a wand there either when he asked that. No, I'm just kidding.
He looks like a pay from this picture than he was in the movie.
Dude, he was like pretty ripped to be. I mean, I said, this was like 5 or 6 years ago, but I was like, dude, isn't he like 70? Like,
yeah, I mean, have you seen the show he was in that show, Frankie and Grace? Grace
yeah, Beth's like, I think Beth, weren't you with me at Comic-Con for that one for meeting? Were you there for Freddie? I met Robert Englund too. Anyways,
wow.
I love the chat, man. They're just going off.
I was gonna say,
pay your tab.
George is loving the Intellivision stuff. Pete says you need to invest in an ultimate Intellivision flashback.
I would. Yeah, I have a flashback. You know what happened is like twice the controllers went out on me, and it's so hard to just find the controllers. Like I kind of keep watching eBay, but to just find Robert Englund, this is one of the ones I straight up just said I found out he was going to be there. I was like, I want the personal meet and greet with him, and I paid for it.
Somebody said
he was cool. He was so cool. Like talked your ear off for like an hour while you're just standing in the line with them. Like a bunch of us were kind of like just waiting, and he would not get up and leave. That's the glove he signed for me for my bar.
Oh wow!
His first ever spoken word on film as Freddy.
Somebody said last
at the steel glove too
on one of our shows that he tried out for Luke Skywalker.
Yes, he did. Him and Mark Hamill were roommates, I think, at the time.
Gotcha.
Wow.
And then there's me, Heather Langenkamp. She was the coolest. It was like, I think it was me, my friend Lisa, Renee, and Justin, and we all got pictures with her. And we didn't have to do this whole like $100 buy-in and show up and go to a different floor. She was just like, "Hey guys." We're like, yeah, Heather, yeah, you're like the greatest person in the world. Like, yeah, I want a picture with you. She was so nice. She was so nice. Right? Oh, I got the Intellivision Revolution shirt on.
Yeah. Did you watch?
That was years ago too.
Are you a Walking Dead watcher?
I was up until when Rick died. I watched the season after, I think, or half of it, and then I just stopped.
Well, so the one
when he supposedly died.
Yeah, so the one where they're in the prison and the 3 convicts are in there with them.
Uh-huh.
And then the good-looking dude where he put a hatchet in his head.
Yeah.
My buddy had him at a convention, and Ace Frehley was there.
No kidding.
No, and a buddy of mine was at the time. He was Ace Frehley's right-hand man, and and while I was waiting with him to kind of hang out with Ace, here came that guy. He was in the show, but he was coming over to see Ace, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm really sorry." I'm like, because he had just died right before.
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
right.
him.
Yeah, because they wouldn't like know until like what that week or something. They'd be like, guess what? You're gonna die this season.
I said,
me and Shawn Michaels.
I asked if I get a picture
fun.
real quick, and the guy goes, well, and his guy with him, he's like, well, that'll be $20, and he goes, it's fine, don't worry about it.
Me and William Catt. So
Wow.
this is one of my So this was it was Macomb Community College, like around literally up the street from me.
Oh,
like
Macomb, yeah, right, yeah.
And I went up there, and they were having like a mini. I wouldn't even call it a Comic-Con. It was just like a little comic convention.
Yeah.
And I saw there was going to be some retro gaming stuff up there. So I was like, oh, maybe I can get some games. So I went up there. I'm like, where's your TurboGrafx? You know, and the guy wouldn't sell it, or he was asking too much. And I'm walking around. I got there super early. I love the CBD sign like behind me. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm walking around, and I look, and it's like William Catt from Greatest American Hero. And I like look, and the place is like pretty much empty. And I go, no way. And then this lady walks up. She goes, "Hi, you waiting to meet William Catt?" I go, "Well, I am now."
Yeah,
And she's like, "Well, he's doing an interview with one of the local news stations over there, but he'll be right back." So I'm like, "Okay." And I'm just standing there doing nothing, you know, looking at a pamphlet. And all of a sudden, he comes and taps me on the shoulder. He goes, "Hey, man." I go, I turn around. There's literally no one around. And I go, "Hey, dude." And he's like, "Hi, I'm Bill Catt." You know, and I'm like, well, hey, what's going on, man? I was like, this is so cool you're here, and blah, 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 and talking for a bit. So we just start getting to talking, and then he was asking me about what my devastating Just Cause meant, and I'm like, oh, what we started talking music, and he's like, do you have a show tonight? I'd love to go to a show. And I'm like, now I wish I did have a show tonight.
Right.
I didn't know that William Catt would be coming.
Right.
And I was like, I'm thinking in my mind, can I set up a show this quick? And I'm like, no, it'd be impossible.
No, I know what you were thinking. Can I learn Greatest American Hero theme song in time?
Oh, I already know it. I wouldn't have to learn. I just need someone to play the music live, and then I'd sing it. Guarantee you that. But eventually, so we're talking, and all of a sudden I look, and there's like 20 some people lined up on the, you know, with the little bank cables, whatever you want to call those, whatever that keep people in line.
Yeah.
Why do I not know those? yeah, exactly. And then they're all like looking at us, and the one kid's like, "Hey, do you want me to take a picture?" He goes, "As long as you'll take a picture for me." And I go, "Yeah." And I think he thought like we were just buddies talking before he was about to sign like autographs. So I had him sign that picture, and oh my God, he wrote the funniest thing on there too. It was something about me and him going to go solve something on our red jammies. And I'm like, oh my God, it was like the funny, like, let's go. Chuck, me and you were going to go out, get our red jammies on and like solve crime or something like that.
Oh, I know.
And he was also like, please subscribe to Go Game Go. By the way, guys, subscribe to Go Game Go.
Smash it.
And smash that like button.
The DeLorean.
Oh, I owned a DeLorean for about 6 years, and
you owned a DeLorean.
I bought it in 1996. That's when I took it out to California. I had it shipped out there when I moved out in 99, 2000.
Where did you live in California?
I was in Huntington Beach. This is actually in Huntington Beach behind a liquor store. God, what was the name of it? But it was off of like Beach Boulevard in Yorktown. And I was like, let's do a photo shoot with the DeLorean. I don't know why I thought I looked cool with my gnarly dreadlocks at the time. And yeah, I just thought it was so cool. Look how slick and cool I was.
How did you like it?
And these photos did nothing and became nothing and went to nothing. But it was
what do you
cool.
mean? They're great show. They're for our show.
Yeah, there you go. It was purposely made.
You're like, wait. I can just imagine in 2021 somebody showing these. I'm on a show. Never mind.
Did people stop you a lot to talk about the car, Chuck?
What's that?
Did people stop you a lot to talk about the car?
Dude, all the time. So like back in Michigan when I first got it, eventually, you know, I was like, kind of wears off after a while. I'm not saying it's not awesome. I would love to have that car again, but now they're like so expensive. It's, you know, whatever. But I would literally go up to the video store to like rent a game or something. And I'd come out and there'd be 3 people standing around, and then a mom pulling out like one of those disposable cameras, you know, the little paper, and be like, "Can I take a picture with my kid in your car?" And then it got to the point where I was like, "I'm sorry, no, you know, I need to get home," you know, because I would get that constantly. It's like, but I mean, what was I expecting? You know? Like,
Yeah, right.
You have the freaking Back to the Future time machine, and you're mad because a little kid wants to get a picture. You know?
Yeah, that's
but
like
I was nice, but it got to the point where every time I came out, it was something like that. Can we get a picture? Can we all sit in it? Can we open the doors? Then we'll both sit in it. No, I just want to get my groceries and go home. You know, like
I'm just a regular guy.
I'm just a regular dude with an exotic car in a small town.
I got groceries. I got laundry to fold. I got to get out of here, people. I got tab to drink.
So I have a lot of tab. So much tab.
So I got to ask you, when you first got it, was the first thing you did hit the highway and get to 88?
Dude, okay. Now that this has already happened and it's been many years, I think I played a show. I would do a song with a band called DOC, and I drove out to Bay City, Michigan, which was like, I don't know, hour and a half or so away from where I was, and went and did the show. I think I had a fallout with a female where we were, well, blah, 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 blah. Well, then you won't see me. And I'm like, Chuck, you're thanks, Names Detroit. And I got in the car and I'm like, screw this. And I was so angry, and I'm down I-75, and it's, I think it was like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning. And I'm like, I'm going to see if I can get this thing up to as fast as I can get it, and it's a 5-speed. It's only a V6. It was like a Volvo engine or whatever.
Yeah.
I got her up to about, I counted because it stopped, I think it stopped at like 85. It didn't the one, even the one in the movie was a modified speedometer. It was like a fake speedometer.
Gotcha.
So I definitely got it up to 88. Unfortunately, I did not go back in time, but I ended up going, I think I got it up to around 120 because I just kept counting, and I was like, holy crap, I need to slow down.
So,
and I was like, oh, but there was literally no one around me. It's like a 4-lane highway, and it was straight, and I just, whoa! I was like hoping it blew up. I was so angry. I didn't care, and when you're like, 21 years old or
I wonder if you had gotten pulled over and you told the cop, hey, I just got this and I wanted to hit 88. I wonder if he would just let you go.
I probably would have done that. I probably would have said, I was just trying to see how fast I can get her to go. Because mind you, this was the 90s. I don't think wouldn't have been as bad. I probably would have been in jail. Who knows? Oh, hey, there's me up at the Rogers Roost on the back patio having a beer. This was a couple years ago.
That's the wall. I feel like I'm there. Well, I guess I am there.
Yeah, you're virtually there. I'm bringing you there. Oh my God! Now this is a funny one. This is Newport Beach, California. This was a place called, oh man, if I cannot remember the name of it. This was, I want to say about 16 years ago or something. We had a show, and my shows, I always had these two trash cans, and they'd have a 6-pack in each one. So I'd have a 12-pack of beer to drink during the set. And there'd always be girls that would do go-go dancing. And I had and they'd always be different. And this one girl I knew, she's on the left. She's like, oh, I'll do it. The girl on the right, and the reason her face is blurred out, she worked for Fox Sports in LA.
Oh boy.
She got up on stage, and she was, let's say had a few. Hey, we all had a few. I'm not judging or anything like that. And she's like, oh my God, please do not ever let these photos get out. I'll get in big, now this probably doesn't work there anymore. Probably doesn't even live there anymore. But yeah, she got up on stage, and it was just a crazy, and then we started pouring beer on everyone, and it was a pretty sold out crowd there too. I wish I had more pictures from that show. I do have some videos though that I'm going to post up on the music site, hopefully within the next month. But yeah, California was the best place to play music.
Of course, these two have kids
now. I'm sure they're married. Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're in the chat right now.
Uh-oh.
I think they're in the chat.
Hey, how's it going?
By the way, somebody mentioned, was it Pete that mentioned, no, it was,
this is me during like the first COVID stay home orders.
Carol's husband tastes great.
I was all about the Tiger King. I'm like, I saw that shirt. I was like, yeah, order.
Oh my God.
It was funny for a few months.
Somebody mentioned you have B-17 bomber in that arcade games that you had. Did you have B-17 bomber?
I have it on Intellivision.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Yeah. Oh, that was like a promo thing for. Please go on Spotify and download. Just get me paid somehow, even if it's 5 cents a stream. I would love it. That was the new record.
Unfortunately, we send you a $5 bill.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this album came out in 2020. You know, it's the 2020 album. But
don't you think that would almost be better? I mean, just give everybody an address and just say, if you like the stuff, send me a $5 bill.
Dude, that would be amazing.
I mean, really, that's the way it should just go.
Remember back in the day when people they'd send those things where you'd be like, everyone mails someone $1, and it was like you had a list of people to mail $1 to, and everyone will become a millionaire.
Yes,
it never worked.
No.
So, Chuck, do you have like a store or something for all your clothes you have?
No, that's the other thing we were setting up. We're probably going to go through a company because what I was doing was printing it myself. Through a different couple. I was trying a couple different companies, and it's just be too expensive. So I'm looking at maybe TeePublic or a couple other places that'll just. I don't have to do anything. You just make the site, and people can go there and just order them, and you just get the residuals. Because it's literally like, if I'm going to pay, $6 to $10 a shirt and only make $5 or something, it's just. I'm better off not having to deal with any of that and just having the company do it, and then I just get,
Yeah,
it's the same with music on streaming. You don't really get paid too much. Like if someone streams my song 20 times, I get like 5 cents or something. So it's like you really got to get the streams up to do that on that.
I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Henry Lee Summer. Have you ever heard of him?
I don't.
Back in the late 80s, he had a song. It was probably like 89. He had a song called "Wish I Had a Girl Who Walked Like That."
Okay, now I think I know that song.
Yeah, and it was on Columbia Records. It was from his debut record with them. And I remember hearing an interview with him much later. I tell this story quite often because it's interesting when you're talking about music and how much you make. He's like, I made more money off of my music when I was driving up and down the West Coast, playing gigs and selling records out of the back of my car.
Yeah.
Because once the distributors get a hold of it and they are doing all that, they get all the money, for a lot of that stuff.
There's a lot of those like festivals and, there's just some bands in general that are fantastic at making insane amounts of money off their merchandise more than their music,
Right. Right.
And just how a lot of those festivals did that too, where they'd make so much money selling the merch over they would ticket sales,
Yeah.
I mean, this was back in like late 90s, early 2000s. I'm not sure about how stuff is now, I mean, most stuff's do it yourself. I mean, you don't really you barely need a record label these days other than maybe some distribution companies. And
I don't, is there, we can talk about that some more on another thing, but it still seems strange to me. And I'm in no way, shape or form in the recorded music industry. I've not had albums. I've never tried to get a record deal. I've never done the tours. I haven't done any of that, but it just seems to me that, this, especially during this whole COVID thing, the whole thought process and mouth has just been so down. Oh, it's not the way it used to be. Oh, it's all different now. And you're like, okay, that's what life is. Life is twists and turns. Things are different. There never used to be record companies and people made music.
Yeah.
And even during the record company times, people were like, screw that. I'm going to do my own thing.
Music's never going to stop. I mean, how it gets out there maybe, but to me, it's both good and bad at this point. Cause I know there's probably lots of lawsuits and stuff I've seen. I mean, I'm having research it big, but I know that like a lot of these streaming services aren't paying artists what they really should be making. It's next to nothing. But they're making tons of money. So I know there's a bunch of stuff that's about to happen in the next year. I mean, we saw that stuff happen back when people were doing Kazaa and Shazam or whatever the heck the name of the like Napster and all that stuff went down and the whole Metallica thing. But I was like, if anything, that artist like scrapes just to get by. I mean, obviously, you know, like a band like Metallica's got millions now, but I'm saying like some of these artists, like they spend more money promoting and making the record or making the music than making, you know, your 5 cents off a stream or a download, you know? So I really hope that changes. Lance, what is your favorite Intellivision game? Oh, original one? Well, I had a top 5 on my channel, but
yeah, you just did that.
I literally, I really like them all, but if I had to pick if it had to be like only one, I guess I'd have to pull Astro Smash. I mean, if it was like you can only have one, and here's your desert island, and here's your Intellivision.
Lizzie C agrees.
Yeah, nice. Yes, Astro Smash. Like to me, that's just one that, you know, it's replayable plenty of times. Oh, I could have said Utopia too, but yeah, I'm gonna go Astro Smash. It's more
that top 5. You had bowling up there.
But oh shoot, that's one too. But no, I'd say Astro Smash still. But bowling is my memory of that is just like every part of my life from when I was a kid all the way up to now. I've still played that game with people and new people, and it's just so. So what did you say? The game's so nice they named it twice.
Well, and what about the Major League Baseball right behind you?
Oh, dude, I love Major League Baseball. Is like one of my. That's another one, and that was in one of my top 2. It's like Astro Smash, Major League, and then poker and blackjack is kind of close to my heart too. I don't know if it's like it's definitely not in my top 5, but it's it was one of those games where it came with the Intellivision. So when I first learned about that there was video games, it was like, oh, so this is on the TV. Well, I don't really know cards, but I want to make this. I want to make this little dealer pissed. So I was like, I'm just going to make these crazy bets till I win. Pitfall, yes. Pitfall, Eric, yes. Pitfall, yes. That's a great one on anything. So, you're out.
Chuck, I got to ask you. In your videos, off to your right. Well, your left.
Oh, wait.
All right. Yeah. All right. You've got a double arcade stick.
Oh,
with
yes.
you on there.
That is a Pandora's box.
Oh, Pandora. Okay.
It's kind of like if you saw OEB Pete just open a newer one. It's what I mean. It's a small 1-player console. These ones they had out. I bought this, I think, 3 years ago. It's got about, I want to say like 800 games, or maybe it's 1,000. I can't remember. But it's a lot of like double versions. It's like 30 different versions of Street Fighter. This one, Blanca's hair is pink. You know, like it's like it makes, you know. But yeah, it's got some pretty good arcade stuff on it. It's I'm more of an arcade kind of purist guy. So when this stuff comes out, I'm like, I'd rather get like the arcade cabinet. But I got it because it was something fun, and at the time, I just wanted something I could plug and play HDMI. You know,
Yeah, I just
it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to have.
I'm a big arcade stick fan. I've got a bunch laying around here.
It's definitely. I mean,
I think
they're like $150, maybe cheaper now. But now they're up to like Pandora. This was like Pandora's box, like 4. Now they're up to like 10x or 11 or so, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
Buzz Bombers right now.
Buzz Bombers is awesome. Flight of the Bumblebee, constantly planned. You were like an aerosol can. And then you had to hit, Night Stalker. Yeah, nice. Now, Buzz Bombers, you were that aerosol can that kept kind of going back, and it would like, and you'd shoot up at the bees and the honeycombs.
Oh, okay.
Then you hit the hummingbird, and it'd get all sick and turn green, and then go. Not very environmental, but you're killing bees and poisoning hummingbirds. But what a fun game!
Woo! They're just virtual. It's not real.
It's not real.
Not real. We can be inhumane.
They're
as
pixels.
long as it's digital.
You can't be inhumane to a pixel.
Not even a mad little pixel.
There you go.
Remember when you first saw him and you were trying to think of his name on one of our shows? Remember you called him that little pixel dude?
A little.
It's the pixel dude.
So awesome.
I couldn't do it.
So Chuck, when did you start getting into Amico stuff?
Dude, well, I am such as you can see, like things behind me, everybody's like, I've had a few people go, where did you get those? I'm like, kind of just Photoshop the things and put them in a frame to look cool.
Yeah.
Nothing. I got them offline. You know,
Are those not real?
they're not like real boxes. They're just like a printout of it. Yeah,
graphic printout.
That's a printout of the overlays too.
I cut and pasted. Yeah, they're just like, you know, like if you look them real close, they're not like high def or anything. But it was kind of a cool backdrop, and like I made those a while ago. Like, and I kind of said this in a few older videos too. I was like, back if you think about it, 3-4 years ago, there wasn't much Intellivision merch. So I would, as a fanboy, literally doing nothing. I wasn't like, you know, selling them or anything like that.
Right.
But I would make my own, like, I'd be like, you know what, if I'm doing my band shirts, I'd always make a couple nerdy shirts for myself. So I'd be like, well, I'm going to do one that has a big Intellivision controller on it. Or I'm going to do one that I have one that has like a bunch of overlays all across the shirt. And then I made those and I just kind of framed them. It's just for me, you know, and, yeah, I'm just kind of nerdy like that. I've always been an Intellivision fan, going back to what you were asking. Like, and it was just such a console. And then when the homebrews came out, like, I don't know when the first one came out. God, it was like 10 years ago, maybe more. I still followed it. Like, I constantly have always been in Intellivision. And then when I heard about, you know, Keith Robinson passing, I'm like, oh my God, you know, we're done. We're not going to have anything. And I just kind of followed like kind of the news on that. And then I followed a couple game channels and then started seeing, oh, well, Tommy, he's going to come. That's the video. And I remembered him from G4 and Video Games Live. But other than that, I wasn't too I mean, I guess that's pretty familiar, but like, and I was like, oh, this guy's going to take over. This guy could do some stuff. And then he started saying what he wanted to do and his love and passion. I was like, God, this guy's just like me. It was his first console. He just loves it. So yeah, I was on board from the beginning. It was something, and that's like, and I'm not going to get into people that hate it and get into all that drama, but I'm like, this company is actually a trustworthy company. It always has been. So yeah, I'm on board. I always have been.
Now, did you go and see any of the live shows?
No, I knew of them, but it just never worked out where I went and saw one.
I was so out of the loop.
No, I really want to. Like,
right.
I've been
I'm a little more familiar with it. It was one of those things I heard of, but I never looked into it or never thought much of, you know.
Yeah,
now I'm like, oh man, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, Jeff's seen two of them.
Saw one in St. Louis and one in Kansas City.
Kansas City, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That is amazing.
Yeah. Glad I got to see. I think that was the only time may have been the only time he was in St. Louis and in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lance. Did you see Lance was saying that Mattel was trying to? I
was just looking at that.
Buzz Bomber. I guess I can highlight those, can't I?
Ray, oh my God, could you imagine that? I mean, I don't know. I guess back in like the early '80s, no one would have really cared. That would have been kind of funny.
Right.
Now it would have been like an abomination. You're killing off the bees.
Yeah.
Which I know is supposed to be pretty bad.
And going back to Pac-Man, I'm still trying to think my brother had one, and the closest I can see as to what it might have been is this Pac-Man 2 handheld, which had two pad setups on either side of it, so you could play head-to-head.
Ooh.
I never had that. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, Jeff, see if you can. I could send you. Oh no, I can put it on, can't I?
Yeah, you can put it on.
How do I do that?
You just go down to the share screen.
Okay.
And then hit share screen like 3 times.
Okay.
And then from there, it's either your entire screen or application window or a Chrome tab.
Okay. Let me see if I can find a really good shot of it here. Trying to find one that's got some of the gameplay on it. Let's see here. Let's see if I can do this. See if I'm smart enough to do this.
Let's see if Stuart can figure it out.
Yeah, can I? Let's see here. I'm probably going to knock us all off. Oh, wait a minute. What did you say to do?
Hit share screen.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it.
And then you got to hit share screen like 3 times in a row. It's kind of weird.
Really? Okay. Let's see if I can.
Can he do it?
Yeah, George Games like the hummingbird always gets in the way. He absolutely does. Hey, everyone at Rogers Roost, if you're still watching, you're probably very, very drunk. Please.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right.
I'm drinking Tab is what you guys should start drinking now.
He wants to know if he should start the Go Game Gone right now.
Oh, dang. Wow.
Oh yeah, what are we over an hour right now, huh?
Brutal.
I don't know. Should we start the I'm a douche now?
That's funny.
Next thing you know, Rise of Skywalker.
That's coming. Yeah, I don't even see the 2-player one, Stuart.
I remember I had a Pac-Man watch, the LCD watch, like from the 80s, and you had the little. Well, mine never came with it, but you had like the little joystick adapter for it. It was pretty terrible, but I remember it.
Yeah, it's called Pac-Man 2.
Okay.
And it's blue, and you can go head to head. I'm certain that's what it was, because it just had the little it just had like the vector graphics, and it was blue on black. I just remember that, and there was some red accent.
This is the one I always wanted. This one here, I always thought this was so cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh wait, this is the actual Puck-Man version. That's the really expensive one.
What the puck?
That's crazy.
Oh, Pete's saying not because of time, but we might get cut off.
Might get cut off.
What does that mean?
Why are you so cryptic, Pete?
I feel like it's a puzzle.
I ain't got time for that. I don't know, but that last show gave me a headache.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Oh, I know that last show we did, man. It was like we were over 2 hours and I didn't even realize it. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was great.
I mean, we could call it if you want. You know, it's not a biggie.
Oh no, it's all good. But
no.
Or if you guys or if you guys got more stuff, let's keep going. I'm good with that either way.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you
Jack goes, you can see your friends. It's been a long day for them. Well, when they get there at like 3:30 in the afternoon, I can't help they drank that much. That's awesome, by the way.
They all wanted a table near the TV.
Yeah, I hope you guys got a good table near the TVs. Well, there's probably about 30 TVs in there, so I'm sure my ugly mug's all over them.
No, Pete, I gave up. I don't want to sabotage the show by trying to figure it out. I know when I've been beaten for the moment.
So, Chuck, have you pre-ordered an Amico?
I pre-ordered 2 Amicos.
Ooh.
I literally was going to buy a Founders, and by the time I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get on there today, they were all sold out. I was like, no! And then they finally did the VIP, so I got a wood grain VIP, and then I ordered I called it the Tron one, the black one, which I thought with the blue with the black was
that's
so
pretty cool.
So I got 2 of them on pre-order. Now I see the Galaxy Purple. I'm like, nope. I just stopped myself. I'm like, you don't need a 3rd one. I'll just get like some crazy controllers, and then swap them all out.
I need to get one in every room.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to keep one boxed. And I'm wondering if I might keep the wood grain boxed, just sealed and boxed for, I mean, what at my age, what am I going to use it? I might open it, but I'm thinking, man, that might be kind of cool to have one just in the box as a collector's piece, I mean, you never think about that back when the first, like if I would have had the box turbo duo at this point, I'd probably, I'd have like, $6,000 in my pocket,
Yeah.
or more, whatever they're going for now. I mean, I sold, don't even get me into turbo graphics, man. I sold my whole collection.
Oh.
I don't know about, I sold and then I rebought and then I sold again. And I don't know what I was thinking, and now the stuff's just tripled, quadrupled in money.
Chuck, that brings a tear to my eye just hearing that.
Because I worked a job at Sears, and it was just as I want to say, because when a Duo came out in '93, so I was graduating. I graduated high school in '93, so I was working at Sears under the escalator where you'd change out the watch batteries, those little. So I worked there, and I worked there just enough to make money to buy a game system, and it was going to be the Duo. I was like, I'm buying it. They were what $290, like $300 or something. And I was like, oh no, because I was a TurboGrafx. I was all in. I didn't care how people were like, there's like Super Nintendo and Genesis. I'm like, no, I'm sticking with Airzonk. He's on the box. That silver box looks fantastic. And I saved up all my own money, quit that job after that, and bought that. got a couple games, went home, and I had so many games that I ordered off of catalogs from them, like the Duo Riot Zone, which is that amazing beat 'em up. I had a stack of games, and I have all the box. And it's funny, I found a box of all these boxes from all my games as a kid because I used to love the boxes. And I moved, and I didn't I think it was early. That was around. I think this summer I was cleaning out my basement, and I pulled out some boxes. I'm like, oh my God, these are all TurboGrafx like boxes, and they're almost mint. Like they're not. Some of them have the corners a little bit, but they're pretty mint. And I'm like, now I got to rebuy the games to make these complete in a box. So that's kind of what I'm working on now. But now the games are insane. Like Splatterhouse is like $200 now.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I have an Airzonk box and I have an Airzonk chip, but I don't have the manual in the case. And so I'm like, those are like $3.99. I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me, But it goes back to it. Yeah, I ended up selling them off like years ago. And then I rebought some, and then another like 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I sold those because I was like, oh, I need some money, and you can do this and that, and like I just didn't hang on to stuff, and I wish I did, And we all kind of say that in hindsight,
Yeah, exactly. I had some games that I didn't play that much, and
Perry alert, Perry alert,
Perry.
A whole shift 3 to 10 p.m.
Now, see, Lance
guys.
is talking my language again, talking about the red GTO. That's what I'm waiting for. I think I put that on my post.
Did you see the Amico All Access?
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he showing that? Was he showing that in there? I thought he showed that.
No, he showed. Wait,
the red? You mean?
He showed a controller.
Oh, the controller. That's what it was. Okay.
A 2-tone controller.
Yeah.
So, Chuck, I don't know if you.
But I want the. What I'm saying is, I want the red one. I just saw I was like, that just looks so beautiful. I really want the red one.
That's my favorite looking one. I was gonna say we did a show, like maybe our first show. I don't know. But Stuart and I were at CES back before E3. So that was the big gaming thing. And I think 91 we went. Mm-hmm. And we were both in the TurboGrafx. And I think the last one, 91, they had the Turbo Duos that were being introduced. And so I saw them for the first time. I think one was playing John Madden, which I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the CD football.
Is that the only EA game on?
I think that's the only CD football game they have. Yeah, because they had TV sports football on the chip. But then, I think that was the Madden. That was the.
But it was so cool because we went to the TurboGrafx area.
I'm thinking of 3DO.
They had the PC engines set up, not the TurboGrafx for display.
Oh, wow.
And I saw it, and at the time there was no internet. I was like, "What the heck is this thing?" Because it was so small. I had no idea what it was or where it came from. Because at the time, I wasn't even thinking about Japanese stuff. But it's so cool to see that stuff back then.
I didn't even learn about the PC engine, I think, till after my Duo and all, way after. I was just such a Turbo fan, and then I think I might have ordered a couple things through a catalog, and they came in and said PC engine, and I still didn't kind of understand. I thought at the time it was this is probably pretty pre-internet. I'm thinking, well, at least for me, I wasn't one that had a computer in the 90s and got on the first dial-up or anything. Right. I even had a web TV that was the closest to a computer I had back in the day.
Oh my gosh!
Remember the web TV where you basically had a wireless keyboard? It was like a giant keyboard remote, and you had a thing that you connected through your TV on a coaxial cable, and it went, and then it showed a highway, and it goes logging you onto the super highway of the internet, and you hear all the dial-up stuff going, and then you click on, and then you didn't have a mouse. Everything was highlighted in boxes. It was the worst way to surf the internet. And I actually kind of got around on eBay buying Intellivision games back then.
Web TV.
All I can think is during development, they're like, okay, so there's going to be a moment where it's going to make a sound. What should that sound be? Like a boop, 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 or a I like that second one, Jones. That's a good one.
Another thing, why did we need to hear the sound? They didn't have to have that. Just mute it. Why? So we could just hear the awful, awful screeching. Made 0 sense. Oh my god.
What's going to be the first Amico game you play?
It's going to be Astro Smash. I mean, I think the next one would probably be Night Stalker. I mean, I'm literally going to have like a release party here. I'm going to have to just have, depending on what's going on, but
road trip.
I basically want to have, I want to play Finnegan Fox. I just love a platformer. I was so happy when I saw that. I was like, I hope there's a whole bunch of platformers that end up coming on because I really like that. And that style, I didn't think at first that I'd like a cartoon style, but it was like, you're literally like playing like a cartoon. It looks so smooth. Yeah. And then I'm all about like stuff that looks like 16-bit Genesis pixely or Super Nintendo style or TurboGrafx. But I just saw that and I was like, what a smooth looking game that I never really thought I'd be into. And I went, I love it. Like I fell in love with it. I was like, it's amazing. But I'm probably gonna sit down and play like 5 or 6 on the first day, but yeah, Astro Smash is my first for sure.
Have you ever played Little Nemo on the Nintendo?
I don't think so. No.
The NES.
Why does it sounds familiar? I must have seen it.
It was an old comic strip.
Yeah.
Years, like way back in the 20s.
Yeah.
They made a movie.
It was like Journey to Center of the Earth thing, right?
Well, no, it was like
I'm thinking of something different.
It was a kid who would fly at night in his dreams. He would fly on his bed and go on adventures.
It's such a good game. You would throw candy to animals and then fall asleep, and then you jump on top of them, and then you could ride them around. And each animal had a different set of like moves or powers they could do. Oh yeah, did you guys see John Riggs' video?
I was just looking at that. Yes, I did. I first I was like, no, what? Why? And then I clicked it. I was like, wait a second.
There it is.
Oh, okay, Capcom game.
Yeah.
The Dream Master. I've seen it. I've never played it. At least I don't think.
It's oh, look at that. They even promote the Disney Capcom game.
Chip and Dale.
That one, and there's the
see, my favorite, I just did a Sega thing. Quack Shot with Donald Duck for Sega Genesis is one of my favorites. I just love the Disney. Something about the Disney animation on a 16-bit is cool. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, so you would feed candy, and then it would let you like jump inside. You could do the same with you could ride on the frog, right? You didn't jump into the frog, or did you have a frog suit?
I thought you rode the animal. Didn't you ride like a gorilla too?
Yeah,
that's funny.
So those all the and the mole.
Oh, you got a hermit crab too.
Yeah, right.
That's cool.
These are your enemies.
The flying fish, the army ant. So, the snail looks mad.
Yeah.
He looks so evil.
Those evil snails.
Yeah, those.
Yeah. But no, it's a great game. Oh, and there's that again, Jeff. That was the one that's got trivia in it that Pete and I were talking about.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that until you mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out again and see. But it was not an easy game. I always hate that when it's something that you love and you know it well. Well,
right.
Like I have some Van Halen questions for when I talk to Tommy. I have some trivia. And it's stuff that you're like, oh yeah, that's a breeze. I'll know that. And then they ask stuff you're like, oh, I got no freaking clue.
This Air Wisdom said it came up with something great, and I was just thinking this actually the other day. Should He-Man game be a platformer or side-scrolling? Dude, make He-Man a platformer, like the race to Snake Mountain or Grayskull, and then you finally get to the boss, and it's you and Skeletor, man. Along the way, you got Merman, Beastman, Mantenna, Hordak. This could be a mid boss. Dude, there would be so many good things for that.
But would you throw She-Ra in there or wait?
Heck, you could do a separate, do a She-Ra one too. I mean, if he's got and they got a Mattel license, right? So I'd say once this stuff gets up and going, that would be a perfect thing.
He said they have a working agreement. I don't know what they're going to do, but they are working with Mattel.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great franchise. And you got the new cartoon is supposed to come out that Kevin Smith is doing. I haven't seen anything, although I haven't looked it up recently. But yeah, he announced it should be coming out on Netflix soon.
Whatever happened to the other one? Did it just? I mean,
I'll be right back. Hold on.
I'm not sure they had the one many years ago. It was kind of that new animation style. I didn't really like it, and then
that's my question. I'm like,
yeah, this one's supposed to be a direct sequel to the 1980s, like Filmation.
Oh, okay.
He said they're going to try to make it as true to the Filmation version, and it's going to be. I'm sure the animation's obviously going to be a little different, but they're going to basically pick up for where that left off. They want it the same universe, you know.
I want to know what happens to a lot of the licensing for a lot of these old shows that are now they're on DVD. Like, what if you're going to do that? Why don't you do a Thundar game? Why don't you do?
Oh yeah.
What was the one? Jason and the Wheeled Warriors.
Oh, is that the one that had I'm thinking of the Rock Warriors. That was, man. There was so many weird. I'm trying to think of like all the Saturday night or Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah. Oh my God, Silverhawks.
Cool?
Silverhawks.
Silverhawks. There's all the Rankin and Bass. They had Thundercats, Silverhawks, and what was the third one?
Oh my goodness! Well, there was some really crazy ones. Do you remember one called Tiger Sharks? It was was that it?
That's the third one.
They just decided to mash up animals and people to make them into these like superheroes or whatever they were, and that was the one that never took off. So Silverhawks sort of had I bought Silverhawks, or I shouldn't say I bought them, but I had Silverhawks toys. Like growing up, like I had Buzzsaw. I had one of the. Well, I had one of the other. The Silverhawk dudes, whatever. Yeah. But
Jeff and I have talked about this before. What about Micronauts?
Oh my God, I don't think I ever had any of those toys.
I had the toys, and I collected the comic books, and I met Michael Golden, who did the artwork, and he also did the artwork for the Nam comic book.
Yeah. You ever remember a series? It was short lived, I guess, and they had big toys too. It was called Inhumanoids. And I remember those.
It
had the dude that had the rib cage where you could put the action figure in the rib cage. He was like a demon. And then you had I always wanted this toy. It was called Tendril, and he was this plant monster with all these long tendrils or whatever you want to call them. And I always wanted those. And I look them up now; they're probably like $1 million. I can't afford it. All those toys are. But I was like, Inhumanoids, like no one remembers that. And then RoboForce is another weird one.
Yeah, RoboForce. Yeah,
had those suction cup robots, and they had those like accordion arms, and you press the button, and they would like crush together the arms.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And they had a cartoon on that too, like for like a second.
What about because it had a comeback in this. We just watched this movie at school. I took it in because I'm like that. I'm like, here's a movie that's appropriate for school. Watch this. Well, I don't know if they're going to like it. Well, I don't care. I'm going to show them something that they Herculoids. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
But what about a game? Because they made multiple kinds. They had like a villain one even. What if they made a game for Stretch Armstrong?
Dude, and then you had that what was the other? Was the creature? Well, they had the creature from the Black Lagoon, or remember he was part of the Stretcher. Well, maybe it wasn't that, but it was like a lizard creature dude that was stretched as well.
Yeah, was there a red one? Was it red?
I had a green one. I had Stretch Armstrong, and then I had the green, like, unless it was a different franchise, just the same kind of toy, but it was like a green aqua looking monster. I always thought it was like the Black Lagoon creature or whatever.
Oh yeah, well they did have a red one.
I'm trying to remember. That was like a long ago.
They actually made a Batman one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so they had a Stretch X-ray where you saw his innards, and that one is gold. And then the one you're talking about is looks like the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's green.
Yeah.
And then they have a red one, which I'm not seeing again right now.
I remember my Stretch Armstrong got a hole in his chest, and he was like leaking liquid. And my mom, I knew if my mom saw, she was going to pitch him out. So I literally was putting tape and like Band-Aids on it, whatever, we just keep it in, trying to hide it, And one day I came home from school, I threw that out. It was leaking jelly everywhere.
You're like, no.
I was like, no. And I remember to this day, I remember the smell of that. Of like, isn't that weird? The smell of like the plastic and that filling. Oh wow, yeah, Vac Man.
Vac Man. Cool. And then there's the yellow one, and then there's your green one.
Yeah, that's the yes. He's just called Monster.
Monster. How about that?
This was just Monster.
So what do you think, Stevens? What are we going to call it? Going to go with Monster?
We're going to go with Monster, and this meeting adjourned. Let's hit the bar.
It was probably 5. It was probably 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let's just go with Monster.
Awesome.
Same awesome.
I'm like, such great memories. What was he called? Monster.
Green
Monster.
You guys are naming all these characters, and my wife's sitting right here next to me going, I remember all of those.
Nice.
Well, so do yourself a favor, though. There is a really cool scene with the Stretch Armstrong. If you haven't seen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty with Ben Stiller, it's
I never saw it all the way through, but I remember like I'll just have to rewatch.
Yeah, you got to give it a chance. It's going to hit with some people and not with others. With me, it kind of reminded me of a friendship that I have, because I love Kristen Wiig. I mean, she's so awesome. And
oh yeah.
And they have a fun kind of relationship that's almost it's a hit and miss. It's like okay, and it's just fun, and Sean Penn's in it, anyway, there's some good stuff.
Lance, I was just reading that.
This is brutal.
Let's call it Monster. It's already taken.
Oh my god, I almost spilled.
Oh, Lance said, "Let's call it Monster." B. Arthur is already taken.
Wow,
man.
Brilliant, Lance. Brilliant.
That is awesome. That is so awesome. I was literally before we come on, I was like, man, I need to come up with some B. Arthur versus stuff, and I never did.
There's nothing like being overtaken in humor by somebody in your chat list. You're like
B. Arthur versus Frogger,
I got nothing.
Oh,
that trumps everything right there.
Oh,
well, I tell you what, Micro Machines, I would love to see on the Amico.
That'd be awesome. Like a little racing stunt game. Remember all the little play sets and all the. Oh man, they could do a lot of stuff with that.
And did you ever play the Micro Machines games on the video systems?
See, I remember what was that on? Was that on Sega? Like that was 16-bit, right?
They had Super
on Genesis, but it was on NES, Super Nintendo.
That's what I thought. I think I might have rented one of those before.
And I told Stuart I was looking through an old box of games.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I didn't even realize I had it, but I found a Nintendo 64 Micro Machines.
That is so cool.
And it's 4-player built in, which is awesome.
Yeah, and I thought it was cool because you could do because it really
versus Lance Jennings.
I think after what Lance just said, I think B. Arthur's going to kick his ass.
Smash B. Arthur. Smash that B. Arthur.
You're going to look. It would be one of those fights that just set up, and it's like Lance is just completely dominating, kicking her ass, and then at the last second, she cuts him behind the knees or something.
Oh yeah, she's winning, but hands down, whatever. B. Arthur's gonna win. Wow.
I just noticed our logo is like on white on something in your background.
I noticed that.
Almost looks like you have a Go Game Go poster in the background.
It's the new bowling Go Game Go Intellivision game. And it's one of my favorites. It's in my top 5.
Who knows? We get together with George. Thank you.
Well, just yeah.
We're gonna get together with George, and we'll have some Go games.
That sounds good, man. That sounds really good.
Yeah,
man.
I've got something in my mind. I know Jeff flips me out, man. He's like, he'll be like talking about stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? I didn't even know about that.
Oh, yeah, after the show, was it last week? I just started naming a few things. It was kind of funny.
Jeff Davis mentions Blue Falcon.
That's some of my favorite streams of you guys when you guys are doing like just the movie chats or the random chats and all the versus stuff. Oh my God, I just laughing out loud.
Oh man, those. Oh,
Oh, those are just like off the rails crazy. So funny, dude.
It's so funny because we came up with the idea at the same time about just doing a show where we don't have anything, any topic. We just show up and start talking.
Like, hey,
Seinfeld.
what's happening out there?
Yeah, like a Seinfeld episode or something. And it's like, God, these are the funniest ones we've ever done. It's like,
yeah.
It's just
I've yet to stream yet. I mean, I have it finally set up, and I know how to do it, but I just don't think I don't even have any way to capture anything. I really need to get like a capture device and actually like I'm at the point now where I'm like pointing like a camera at the monitor, going, "Let me record this game footage." Like it's stupid,
Well,
you know. Like
I told Jeff that's what I'm probably going to do because that's what our buddy does out there on the West Coast.
Yeah,
you know, I'm like, because I don't like dealing with you. I have done it. I made it work, but
yeah.
To try to get it all together, it just takes for freaking ever.
Yeah, I've got the cheap capture stick. It's like $20, and I mean the last few streams have been a lot better. Like you can hear my voice much better than say yours or Papa Pete's when we're on. Right. But at least you can hear everybody and you can see the game now. Where I mean, we had several weeks where it was just nothing but like static or like we can't hear Pete. Now we can't hear Stuart.
I remember, I think you guys were doing a stream, and I think it was right as they were changing I was out in a tent in a restaurant. Who was playing baseball with Papa Pete? Or was that? Yeah. And I remember going, I'm out in a tent watching you guys like having a beer and a burger. And I was like, people are like, what do you do? I'm just like, whatever. I'm sitting outside. It's snowing. I'm in a tent, which is stupid. Like, because that was the regulations. No, can't get inside. But the governor's like, hey, you can put a tent outside and you can be inside that with a bunch of people. I'm like, how does that protect you? Like, isn't that worse? Isn't that called a petri dish? But who am I? I'm not in politics or in medicine. But I was but yeah, I just kind of propped my phone up and I'm like, and it's a little loud and they had music and stuff. But I'm just like, I'm watching you guys and you guys were trying to fire up the baseball or whatever. And I was like watching, but yeah, it's just so much fun. Sometimes you just do these streams and subscribe,
smash it.
and after you subscribe, go to my channel and subscribe to me.
It's a whole family.
Yes,
that's right. It's support the family.
Everyone check out DJC Game Studios. Lots of good videos there, especially if you're into retro stuff.
Yes.
And you have a lot of your music stuff on there too, right? Isn't it the same channel?
Yeah, I have a playlist on there, but they're not linked channels. They're two separate entities, which I'm kind of trying to keep separate. Obviously, the music, is explicit. So you're more than welcome to check that out. But all you kiddies can come to my channel because it's family friendly.
Well, and that's kind of what we were doing too. We're trying to put the couple of things together here. That's why Hammer Away is going to exist here.
Nice.
I started it a long time ago, but last year I started it, but then I kind of let it go because I got too busy, and that's when I started talking to Jeff, and I'm like, what do you think about bringing it here into the family here? And he loved it, and I was like, thank you. That's
cool.
That's perfect because that'll definitely be a Stuart thing because I don't have any knowledge of music like Stuart does.
I got like weird knowledge of music and just like people I've met. Brian's Man Cave, what's up, dude? And and I just have like some. Hey, it's Nikki, DJC Game Studios. There, what's going on? What's up, Nikki? OG Garage Crew right there.
That's a pretty picture.
And I forgot what I was saying now. Women
do that.
What was I saying? Boy, my ADD is terrible. I went on so many different tangents.
I was talking about bringing the two shows together.
Yeah. It's just like I'd love like as far as the gaming is like I also want to bring up the music stuff too and do more of that on a separate channel. But that was my whole thing is like when I first started doing the gaming thing, I'm like, well, I'll just be me and just kind of cross. And then I was seeing like a lot of like my buddies is so funny. I wish I had this footage, but my buddy sent me a video that his wife took, and it's their kid. I want to say he's around like 6 or so, And I had a video I did about Shark, and I was putting all the sharks, and I'm pretending like I'm scared of them. It was kind of an early video, and he's watching it, and she's like
pretending.
Yeah, I was scared. I was literally thought they were gonna come out, and she's got, you see like the phone, and the kid's kind of like, she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Nothing." He's like, "What you watching?" She's like, and he's like, "Nothing." He's like. And she goes to it. It's me on their TV on the YouTube, and she goes back, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And he goes, "Why are you watching this?" She goes, "Because I like it." So, and I just thought that was absolutely adorable. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna. And I never really did much like swearing or explicit, but I was like, I'm gonna make them two separate. So I'm like, so my game studios is gonna be fairly, family friendly. Not saying I'm, do baby stuff or anything like that, but I'm saying I'm, But then obviously the music is going to be very, very different. So but I mean that's all parenting. You put your child restrictions on there, and all my music stuff on Spotify and YouTube is flagged as explicit. It's not for kids. So if everyone parents right, then it's two separate entities, and that's how it'll be.
That's right. That's right.
But no, back to like, I know what you were saying. You were talking about music, which I cannot wait to like do some stuff like that and have me on, and and there's a lot of stuff you'd think I'd know and I probably like stupid to, but like then there's like some weird obscure stuff like, or things that are people I've met mostly when I lived out in California. Like I met like Rick Nielsen out there from Cheap Trick in the most weirdest of ways. And then I got a story about one of the guys from Slipknot, and oh my god, if I forgot who it was, and we were partying at the Rainbow Room, playing Arkanoid on a tabletop. And then I also met.
Did you ever meet Lemmy?
No. I even met. I don't know why I'm like. I probably shouldn't even say this, but it was at the Rainbow Room. I mean, it was, mind you, this is like early 2000s. I think now he's like an outcast and came out that he was an idiot, but Ron Jeremy was at the and I was like, dude, it's Ron Jeremy, and they're just like, yeah, just keep walking, man, just keep walking. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to shake his hand. Ugh.
Yeah, you don't want it. No.
No, I definitely don't. But
no,
it's just so many weird people. I'll tell you one funny story. So me and my friends out in California, we had a house out there. It was 5 band people just living in a house doing shows, and everybody's doing their music and stuff, and we're driving, and my buddy had this van that just kept going. This old Dodge van. It looked like it was on fire because it was so rusted and crazy, like an old conversion van. But they drove it all around the country, man. It just would not stop. It was just for loading equipment and enough to fit the people, Anyways, we're going down Hollywood Boulevard or whatever it was. I was in front of the Troubadour or something, and the dude that played Sam on Different Strokes, the red-haired kid with like the little mushroom red haircut, and they'd always be like, Sam, they'd be like Sam, and he'd always like do the sad eyes.
Yes.
And so they rolled down the window, and you saw the dude, and he was like all punk rocked out, and everything, but they knew it was him. It was like, oh, Sam, not the puppy dog eyes, and he's like, F you, bye. We're all like, ah! And I was just in there to witness it, but it was like, oh my god, I would laugh so hard at that. But
I will.
But it just like was weird, obscure stuff like that I met like people from different bands. The drummer for Rage Against the Machine, I met.
Oh,
I
wow.
did not know. Well, me and my buddy Jason it was always me and him would end up going to these big parties in Hollywood or LA or whatever. And I forgot who was playing. We went and saw Deftones, I think, for like the 300th time.
Wow.
And and we were like backstage or in the lounge, and there was a dude wearing a Donkey Kong shirt, like the screenshot, and I was wearing a screenshot Pac-Man shirt. And it was something about, I think I was sat down and I was grabbing a beer or something at the bar, and he goes, dude, cool shirt. I was like, same to you, man. And we just started randomly talking about like Donkey Kong and back in the day and arcades and blah blah. And my buddy Jason comes up and goes, hey man, this is, and I don't remember the name, like that's how stupid I am. And he's like, you know who we were just hanging out with for like a half hour talking about Donkey Kong with? I'm like, what? He's like, that's the drummer for Rage Against the Machine. I was like, well, he's pretty cool. It was just stuff like that, man. Now I look back and people will say something like, I met that guy. Like I had beers with him and talk in some weird setting,
Yeah. what's always crazy is when I meet up with certain bands that aren't somebody that I would follow or listen to their music. Not that anything against it. It's just, it's not my style.
Right.
Like my dad and I, here's my dad. Now my dad just turned 89, but
wow.
this has been a while ago, maybe 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. He won an award and we went up to Chicago. So for him to accept this award, they were having it at the Rosemont. And there's a record store in Chicago area called Rolling Stones Records. And it's by Irving Park and Harlem Road, where somewhere near that intersection. And we go in there and Sepultura is in there doing an autograph sign.
Nice. Roots, like, bloody Roots. I remember that album.
I really wish I was into them, but I'm not. I really wish that the days that you bump into something like that are the days you go, holy crap, this is one of my favorite freaking bands, and I can't even believe they're here today.
Did you ever get into them after that at all? Or
no.
There was only one record. I mean, I've never. It was actually given to me, and it was called Roots, and they had a song called Roots, Bloody Roots, and it was just a rocking, heavy song.
Wow.
And I think it's the only one I really know, but I think I still have that CD, like in my. Of course, I have a CD collection, and I still have it.
Too. I got a wall of shame.
Not as many as I used to, but like I recently found, as a little side note, my booklet that I used to keep in my car back in like the 90s, and it's filled with CDs. And I was like, I'm looking through it going, oh my God. I got like the first Korn album, like and then from that point on, and it was like, oh wow.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I'm not a 90s, definitely not a 90s guy. And I'm a metalhead, but I'm not into the Korn stuff. I'm not into the, there's certain things I like by, say, Rage Against the Machine or, some of that stuff. But my wife would always come home from work. This is one of my favorite stories of
Captain Lou.
And since you've watched enough. You've watched enough Walking Dead. I gave up on it too. But that Rick has 3 questions. You know that, right?
Yeah. Was it how many? Was it who have you killed? How many or something?
And why?
Or yeah.
And so like my wife would come home from the office and go, there's a new guy that just started today and he likes metal. So you guys got to talk. I'm like, whoa, slow it down.
That's the great 3 questions.
I said, you got 2 questions. You got to go in tomorrow. You go in tomorrow and you say, do you like Megadeth? And if they say yes, okay. You ask them, do you like Slayer? And if they say yes, we probably don't have a lot to talk about. But if they say no, then I'm like, let's go ahead and have a discussion.
You want to hear another funny thing? So my buddies at the time were managed by the same people as Slayer,
wow.
Our same manager. And I hope I don't lose any cred here, but I'm not that familiar with Slayer. I'm not saying they're not good or not awesome. I just never bought a CD. I never knew much, but I know they're huge, and I know people are like Slayer,
and they're part of the big 4.
They're just you gotta let you know. And I went a different direction in music, so I was not really around that kind of Anyways, they played a festival, and I was side stage, just standing there and hanging with them and talking to them, and was like, "Hey, man, good show." Shook their hand, and people are like, "Oh my God, what'd you say? Oh, they're the greatest, they're legends." I'm like, nothing. I don't. They just happen to be there at the right time, and people are like, "Oh my God, you don't even know they're legends." And I'm like, I'm sure they are. It was just a band I never got into. I'm not saying they're not good. I just never got into them.
Yeah, they're not my style. That's the perfect way to put it. It's just not my style. They don't have a groove. It's not it's not groove intense. Death Angel is very interesting. I'm just not into the. And it's got to be good vocals too. The roughest I'll go is 5 Finger Death Punch.
Oh, they're good. I mean, now mind you, I don't own anything from them, but I do like them. I just don't have. Too. I might have a couple songs actually on like one of my Spotify playlists, but I mean, and now it's different because you can just look up everything, add it to a playlist, and download it or stream it. But back in the day, it was always like you had to go buy that person's record, and there was always there's a few bands that I'd always buy their records when it came out. Now, mind you, this is back in the day.
Sure, no, I get you.
And it was Aerosmith. Anything that Aerosmith put out, I would go. I mean, at least from when I started getting into them, because they've been around forever.
Yeah, when did you get into them?
Well, my sister was into them years ago, and my
brother was into them when I grew up.
I went more into like when hip hop started, so I really liked Run DMC and Beastie Boys. Beastie Boys was like that was my thing.
1985.
Like 85, like right when
86.
they started doing like She's on It, and then they started doing License to Ill. Like I was like, oh, these guys are so cool. And then Run DMC, like Raising Hell album and all that. And my sister, I went out and was hanging out with her, and I go, and she's like jamming Aerosmith. And I go, these guys actually, I kind of like a couple of these songs. And she was playing, I think, the Permanent Vacation album. And
87. Okay.
Yeah. So exactly. And I was playing License to Ill or something like that. And she's like, these guys are kind of groovy. And we kind of both showed each other our favorites of this and this and this. And then from that point on, we were both fans of both, But yeah, wow. I'd say Beastie Boys, Aerosmith, man, a little bit of Iron Maiden, not huge, but I just made and one of my favorite albums, and a lot of people do not like this album, and it's not Fear of the Dark. Don't worry. It's No Prayer for the Dying. I think that's I know it's a later release, but it was like right to that end of that peak that they were always on, and oh my god, the
Be Quick or Be Dead, I think, is on that, right?
I believe so. And then Tail Gun, because it starts with Tail Gunner.
Tail Gunner, yeah.
Tail Gunner, but that's once again great lyrics, like almost fantasy metal. Just they're so good. But I mean, I don't have like a million of the records, but there's certain songs that I absolutely love.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to. We'll talk.
Says, so you aware that Steven Tyler's Tommy's first cousin? I learned that afterwards. Yeah, I did not know that until he said that. But I guess I'm an Intellivision fan first. Not that I don't love Steven Tyler. Aerosmith's one of my top. It's definitely it's my top 5. Aerosmith.
Ryan, who co-wrote "Eat the Rich"?
Wasn't that if it's not the I thought that was Steven Tyler and Joe Perry.
No. Mm-mm. Who co-wrote that song?
Huh.
It's co-written.
I don't know.
It was co-written by Eat the Rich was co-written by Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
That is one of my and Get a Grip album was amazing. That was like a front to back album too.
It was pretty good.
Although Pump is one, I guess. Pump because I was there when it came out, so it's kind of like that's like record. I'm like, oh, Pump! Like I went and bought that cassette, man.
Yeah, I've got that DVD of the making of Pump. And
that's one of the best music documentaries of a making of an album. It shows the process, the things you come up with, the things that the record. Well, at the time, the record label say you can't say that. He's like, okay, I'll say sassafras then.
Yeah, see, and I want to be that. I don't. Okay, let me rephrase this. I would love to have the opportunity to be that guy who steps in like, I don't want to be John Kolodner, but I could be a guy. I would love to have an opportunity to be the guy like that, where I walk in and I'm like I wish Judas Priest I could have gotten in on Point of Entry when they did that album. Cause I'm like, what in the hell is this? I'm going to be doing a show that I don't want to give it away just yet, but it will involve Judas Priest, and that album and those situations. But I just wish I could be that guy who steps in and goes, I don't know what you're thinking about with this one. We need to, what else you got? Yeah. Let's get rid of that one and put this one in.
The Revolution X that Crow's talking about. I almost got an arcade cabinet, but I passed.
See, that's one I would love to have.
It was too expensive.
I'd love to get the Iron Maiden pinball machine. That's what I really
want. It's amazing. The Aerosmith one's awesome. It's got the toys in the Addicts box and the ball like pops out. If I had that type of money, that'd be great. But those are like $7-8 grand. The special editions are like 12,000. I'm
exactly.
Like, dude, I could buy a freaking vehicle for that. Are you kidding me?
They got the Guns N' Roses one.
I'd have to sell like 10 of my games to buy just that. The Iron Maiden though is one of the best ones I've seen.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Legend.
Now
the Legacy of the Beast is beautiful.
Do you remember an album? I mean, a pinball called The Black Knight back in the 80s. It had a set like a top play field and a bottom play field. It was one of the first that had that, and they had flippers up on the top. And
I might know that one.
I owned it for like a second because a buddy of mine, his dad found it in their garage and had just been sitting in there covered in dust. So I spent some money, got it fixed up, but it had way too many problems to keep putting money into it. So I ended up selling it. But they put a new one out called, was it Black Knight? Well, they did a Black Knight 2000 and somewhere in the 90s or something. Because remember, everything had to have 2000 after it. Yeah. And then they released one like a year ago. Why don't I remember? It's like Black Knight something. But the soundtrack, yeah, he knows. The soundtrack has the dude from Anthrax, Scott Ian.
Oh yeah.
And the dude, if you remember the Metalocalypse series on Adult Swim, Death Clock, the singer, songwriter, and vocalist and guitar player, God, he did everything, of Death Clock. So it's like this mix of insane Death Clock stuff with Scott Ian, sort of Rage. Yes, that's what it is. And I was like, I almost was like, I was about to sell half my collection just to buy that. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not spending $12,000 on a freaking pinball, and like my base would be empty, but I'd be like, but I got this nice pinball.
I know.
So I was like, no, but I mean, I guess I could have. It's so awesome. Such a great soundtrack.
I'm just so thankful that my wife is cool with that stuff. She's like, no, we should make a plan and get you one of those things.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like,
yeah. If you're talking about that Iron Maiden one, you could probably find used for, I mean, maybe $5,000 or $6,000, I guess, depending on.
I'm thinking about talking to some folks that have one and just say, look, when you're ready to let this go, you let me know.
Or if you got something, if they're into gaming, you got something that you could trade in or to get some money off.
Yeah, well, I know they have one at the bar where I was doing the open jam. They have one there, cool. And my buddy, if you ever make it down here, especially to Crow, I think I've already told him about this. I got a good buddy of mine. I used to work with him. He was artist relations for St. Louis Music. Okay. And he now owns a bar called the Silver Ballroom that Jeff and I are, whenever we can work it out, we're going to work on doing a show with him down there at his bar. He's got 2 shotgun rooms. The first one has tables and chairs down one side, and then the bar all the way down. And then you get to the end. He's got a jukebox that's all punk music. And then,
nice.
And then you walk through the entryway to the next shotgun room, and it's full of pinball machines from one end to the other.
Oh man, I would spend hours in there.
I know it's not like it's not like it's a huge room, but I mean, I don't know.
Perry, it's another Perry.
This is the Perry trifecta tonight.
Yeah, that is the third Perry appearance.
Everybody,
if you're playing the Perry drinking game, you've got the buzz. You've got the buzz going.
In fact, he had the Aerosmith game down. He had the Aerosmith pinball machine down there too.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. I just like all those new ones. They start out at like 7 or 8, then they go. Then they're like, well, like the Guns N' Roses is like special edition with skull and roses engraved, 12,005. But then you have like an extra part on the actual playfield too. So you're like, well, I kind of want that one.
I know. You're like, well, why wouldn't I go for all of it?
Yeah, if I'm paying like almost $8,000, what's 12?
Right. You're like,
if you're really putting that much in,
just no, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Did you guys see the Willy Wonka special edition pinball?
Willy Wonka. No.
Oh, it was really good.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh yeah. There's the regular edition and there's the special edition.
Correct.
I don't know what it is, like 15,000 or something crazy.
And do you actually like play with snozberries then?
Oh, dude! If there was like
snozberries,
are they really?
No,
dude. I'm like, I'm believing it, dude. That'd be awesome. Like purple, like steel purple balls.
Exactly. Wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, like a little green, like a leaf on the end, so it looks like it's like an actual berry.
Yes, that would be great. That'd be great. Jersey Jack. Okay,
I'm gonna check that out. That's really cool, though.
Who does? Is it a Williams machine or who does the Iron Maiden one?
Those are all Stern, I believe.
What is it?
I believe it's all Stern now.
Stern.
I don't think there's many because William and Bally went out of business years ago.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Chihuahua.
Chihuahua.
Oh man.
Speaking of Les Nessman.
So yeah, we'll have to get together and we'll do a whole music thing. And
yeah. Like I got some weird music stories of just some people I've either hung out with or met. And like I got more stories of people that are like, you met that person, you know how crazy big they are. And I'm like, we played Asteroids, you know.
Yeah.
It was like one of those things.
Yeah, Ampeg. There used to be St. Louis Music had a machine that was an Ampeg machine, and it was like an old. Well, here Crow can help me out with it too, if you don't know, but you guys could both help me out with it. They basically just put Ampeg graphics, and it had the shuttle, like the space shuttle, on it that would move on it. It was on a track, and it had the moon. Cool. So I don't know. It wasn't originally like an Ampeg machine. They just modded it with Ampeg graphics. But do you remember a pinball machine that had a space shuttle?
Well, I actually growing up. I shouldn't really say growing up, but like when I got my first like real job, I went to. Long story short, I found a really cheap pinball for like $500. It was Williams Space Shuttle pinball, and I gave it to my dad for a Father's Day gift.
I wonder if that was
it used to have a shut. It was stationary though. It was just over a ramp that you shoot under. But if someone modded it could have been modded, you know, to do that. But yeah, it was Williams Space Shuttle pinball, and in the center of the playfield, it had a big it had all the like these circles that would make like a grid, and it would count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then multi-ball would come out.
Well, I bet that was it then. Maybe it didn't.
Yeah,
move.
It was one of my favorite. I wish I would not have sold that. Oh.
And you called it, what was it called?
Williams Space Shuttle pinball.
Okay.
It came out in like 1986, maybe 87.
That sounds right.
Yeah, something like that.
Let's take a look here. I'll see.
And it had the space shuttle on it, because I remember I went in there and put band stickers all over the inside and on the wings of the shuttle, and we had like all the bands would come over and hang out at my old place, and we had everything.
Oh wow!
Sequel to Space Shuttle, Space Station. Now I remember that one too.
Yeah, that was it.
Was it Space Station or Space Shuttle?
Oh, I don't know. There's Space Shuttle, but I think that's it. Because it had the space shuttle up there in the top. I thought it had the moon on it or something, but maybe not. I played pinball on that.
That's awesome.
With Mona Nader, Sammy Hagar's bass player.
That's awesome.
We just sat there and played a bunch of Ampeg pinballs in the shack, and then we had all access passes. It was like Wayne's World.
Nice.
Totally Wayne's World. I was flipping out, and then the next 2 years later, he came back. And my buddy got us backstage, and we were hanging out. That's when we hung out with Mona, because the owner's son was standing there talking to this gentleman. And I said, "So what's up?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm just sitting here talking to blah, blah." And he goes, I think he said Jim. And he goes, "It's Jesse." I'm like, "Dude, this is Jesse Harms, man, his keyboard player. Duh." So I'm like, but then we were hanging out, and we ended up with all access laminates. And then the next 2 years later, we came back, and I told her, I said, "Look, this is not a precedent. I don't want you to think that we're going to get backstage or anything." She goes, "I don't care as long as we see the show." My buddy hands us, you know how the backstage passes are.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
I got plenty.
The after show fabric ones, right? That are stickers, and you
like this. Yeah, you rip off. They kind of like a vinyl sticker, or like a material.
And I'm like, "So what is this?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a working pass."
Like something like this here.
Yes, exactly.
This is literally stuck on my wall, but it's like a thick, like a material.
You know? Yes. So he goes, "Well, those are actually working passes." And I'm like, "Okay, so where can we go?" And he goes, "Anywhere." And I'm like, "Oh my God." So he goes, "We're going to go over there on the side stage." So we went on the side of the stage where they had the bar set up with the Cabo Wabo and everything.
Nice.
And we had been hanging with Mona for like 45 minutes before the show. And then it got to the point where they were going to do Van Halen stuff. And Michael Anthony went out on stage, and she came off side stage, and she goes, "Come here, come here, come here, come here." And they were doing Best of Both Worlds. And I'm like, "What, me?" And she goes, "Yes, come on." So me and two other guys follow her out in the Van Halen walk that they did in the video. And then the next day, I go to work, and my friend Guy, one of my bandmates, he looks at me and he goes, "So I was at the Sammy show last night." I go, "Yeah, I was there too." And he goes, "Yeah, I know." He goes, I
Oh,
was
he saw
really
you?
excited. I was really excited to tell you I had front row seats. And then I look up and you're on the stage. And
That's so cool, dude.
I'm like, sorry, dude, that's my life. You know that. That's my life.
I got a not so good story about backstage passes. So, well, I mean, it's just because I think I was just stupid. So I show,
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, I moved back from California where I met like a lot of people and I always had like these connections, and those have just fell to the wayside, whatever. But my buddy calls and goes, "Hey man, we're playing Family Values." I'm thinking I could be wrong, and maybe I'm getting the bands wrong, but you know how there was like a million bands on there. I think it was like Rob Zombie, Korn, Deftones. There was this band Droid that was playing, and they're like, "Dude, we're." And the whole like thing was like, he's like, "Yeah, man, got you. I got tickets for you guys. You and I think it was my girlfriend at the time, and we went, and I was like, man, these seats are awesome." And we went. We were like 2 away from the stage. It was at the outdoor thing, Pine Knob out here. We just kind of sat. I'm like, oh my god, we're watching the show. And my buddy texts me like right as the show's over. He goes, "Did you guys even come?" And I go, "Yeah, dude, they were great seats. We're right in the front, saw everything. It was like the greatest experience." He goes, "Dude, you have full access backstage artist pass. You could have come partied with us. You could have partied with Rob Zombie. You could have partied with Rob Zombie, Korn, everybody's, and I knew a couple of those people. That's a different story another time."
Oh, man.
But I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And my girlfriend's like punching me. I was like, "You serious?" It's like, "Why? What am I?" And oh yeah, that's Hell Yeah was there. So the dudes from like Pantera and
Yes.
and she's like, "I'm gonna kill you." She's like, "What? We could have hung out with all these bands." I was like, "I didn't know, I just thought." I was like, "Wow, good seats. Like, why get me the seats? I would have stayed backstage, I was like, I'm just like one of those regrets. And I look and I'm like, well, they're really nice backstage passes.
Yeah. What do you think this pass is?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what it was. I look down, everybody's like, man, that's a really cool pass. Like, I'm noticing mine looks all different color than everyone else's,
They're like, haven't you seen Wayne's World?
Oh, I'm surprised. Like the people that worked there weren't like, hey, dude, you got it, or they were just like, here you go to your seat, I guess, whatever. You got some gold pass.
Yeah.
I had a better pass than the workers did.
I don't even have that.
Right.
Well, do me a favor. In order to prep for the show that you and I could do together, and I will certainly have Jeff there too with me if he would like to be there. But do me a favor, because he's included in one of my stories. But come up with your top. Let's do top 5 stories. Okay. And we may only get to maybe 3, but we'll see how it goes. But I mean, if we're on knowledge of that, we'll do it quickly. But come up with your top 5 stories that you'd like to share. I'll come up with mine, and we'll do that. And
I definitely have 2 or 3 in my head right now. So
okay, and even though we've already heard one, come up with your 2 least favorite stories.
Okay.
That like rivaled your last one.
Oh, okay.
Come up with a couple of crappers too, because we.
There you go.
It's not always pretty. It's not.
It's
one of them that I'm going to share could have gone into the crapper, but it didn't. So it was close. That's
gonna be fun.
So, well, do we want to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I'm probably got to get some editing done anyway. So
I got to get to something.
Yeah. Chuck, welcome to the 2-hour club.
I know. Wow, 2 hours, everyone. Please subscribe. Go Game Go and DJC Game Studios. Subscribe now, kids. It's the newest thing.
Smash it.
Yeah, go to Chuck's channel, DJC Game Studios. A lot of good stuff. Especially
the only place where 2 hours rivals a mile high.
There you go.
Not in the same way. Just
I hope not. This has been brought to you by Tab Soda. Kids, get it now. It's the biggest and newest thing.
Especially when you watch Back to the Future.
And
so
Black
now you know.
And Black Label. You'll never see it anywhere.
Label.
You'll never find it. Don't look for it.
That's a funny music story, because Black Label Society came out and they put Black Label, the bourbon on there, and they told him to take it off and get rid of it.
Oh, wow.
He's like, what? It didn't even, because it didn't even have the actual label, but it was they had fashioned it differently. but they said you can't. We don't want you to use that. He's like, I don't know what the problem is, but
Hey, Mabel, it's Black Label. I was looking down there as he's doing it. That's here we go. Here's the countdown.
Go. Let's go, Pete. Boom, boom, boom.
You think he's taking a sip of beer between each post?
He's like,
Game.
Game. Wait for it. Wait for it.
It's a big moment.
Do, 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 do.
Gone.
See you guys.
All right.
Game gone.